Hi and welcome to episode 2 of the Retro Nerds Top 10. We'll be talking about the top 10 comic book stories slash manga stories. Yes, there's at least one on the list. I don't care about the rest of them. This one deserves to be on it. But stories that you must read pretty much. So let's get right into it. With number 10, The Killing Joke by DC Comics. The Killing Joke is pretty much revolves around the Joker and how he became sort of the psychotic person he is today. I mean, he's always been crazy in the head, but this solidified the Joker as being the psychotic person that he is, to where you got to see, Heath Ledger sort of portray that character very well in The Dark Knight. The Killing Joke pretty much has the Joker paralyzing Barbara Gordon, kidnapping Commissioner Gordon, putting him in a room where he sees different photos of his daughter while she's bleeding out from the gunshot wound that she sustained from the Joker, and trying to make him go crazy, but in the end it does not work. Batman comes, saves the day, yada yada yada, but it's still a good story. It's one of the top stories you always have to read when you want to get into comic books and read stuff, so check it out. The stories that continue on after The Killing Joke is you get to see him actually supposedly kill Jason Todd. We all know Jason Todd's still alive and well, but yeah, those are the stories that continue on afterwards. But Killing Joke pretty much helped Joker become more popular than what all the other characters are now. I mean, Batman's #1 rogue, no matter what incarnation is. If it's the old, Adam West Joker, no matter what, the Joker, is always Batman's #1 rogue, and always his most dangerous villain there is. So, yeah. Okay, on to the next one. The next one is number 9. We have One Piece, the Water 7 / Enies Lobby storyline. Really good series. One Piece was inspired by Dragon Ball Z. The creator of One Piece was inspired by Dragon Ball Z. He always read it and was inspired to do his own little manga, and he came up with One Piece, which is very, very popular. It's up there with Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. But the Water 7 storyline pretty much takes the group, Luffy, Nami, Usopp, Zolo, Robin, Chopper, and Sanji, to the island of Water 7, which is a big island, pretty much surrounded by water, has the railroad in the waterway as well. Pretty much the group gets there, they need a new ship because the merry-go is pretty much to the point where it's just breaking. Usopp doesn't want to get rid of it, but everybody else wants to get a new ship. Usopp leaves the group for a while, and the group goes to some shipwrights to get a new ship. They meet Iceberg and all the shipwrights that's under him, and they find out that there's another group of shipwrights that like to destroy ships, and they meet Frankie, the cyborg human. They find out that him and Iceberg used to work underneath the Fishman Tom and so forth. But to get down to this point of the storyline's mainly focused around Robin and what happened to her when she was a child, and why she's been wanted ever since she was 7 years old. Pretty much the government's been hunting her because she's the only one that survived the Buster Call way back when the first Buster Call, I guess, was called back then, the Destroy Island. But the government's pretty much after her. The group has to save her. She just pretty much says, don't come after me, and then after a while, towards the end of the book, once they're fighting everybody from the government group with the devil fruit powers, she finally calls out to the group and says she wants to live. So they all come down and rescue her, take her back with her, save her. But the story just has so much action, so many cool things. I mean, like, for instance, you could see Zolo out of nowhere go 1 gorilla, 2 gorilla, and he grows these fucking big ass biceps while he's swinging his fucking swords. It's kind of cool and very interesting. If you want, pick up those volumes. I believe it's like volume 30 to 34 to 40 something, I don't know, somewhere around there, but they're really good to read. You get to see Luffy's new transformations, Gear 2nd and Gear 3, so which are kind of cool because he can blow into his I guess his bones, because it makes his bones bigger, but they inflate like balloons, and just gives him like super gigantic, like giant like strength with punches and shit like that. So it's a really good one to read. Let's go to number 8. Number 8 is The Dark Knight Returns by DC Comics. This one's done by the famous Frank Miller. It's about Batman in his older days, still big and buff though, dealing with the mutant problem. The mutant leaders pretty much trying to revolt and to tell him that you can't live with the humans, sort of just like the X-Men type of thing. Batman pretty much suits back up again, takes on a new Robin, which is a female Robin, and she helps him take down the mutant leader in The Dark Knight Returns. I mean, then there's the second part to the storyline, to the books, where Batman actually fights Superman at the end of that one, but I say the first volume, The Dark Knight Returns, is better. So read that one. Let's go to number 7, Ghostbusters Legion by 88 miles per hour. Now the company is not around anymore, but they did do a cool Ghostbusters story called Legion, where it takes place right after Ghostbusters 1. They save the city. Louis Tully becomes a huge like nerd superstar with selling all these different like body clone and stuff. There's a whole bunch of like timeline mess ups. Like they mentioned Cameron Diaz in that, and Cameron Diaz wasn't even famous around that time, because if you follow the movies right after that would have been still in the 80s, and Cameron Diaz didn't become popular until like the 90s. So there's this whole bunch of wrongdoings, but it's pretty much you get to see some of the story told of when Peter, Egon, and Ray were in college with their buddy Michael. They try to open the portal to the ghost world, and something happens. Why they do that, and fucking Michael becomes possessed, and he gets the powers to be able to talk to the ghosts and hear what they're saying to him. It's kind of cool, kind of weird, but and then after a while he escapes from the insane asylum that he was put in to, and he tries to take revenge on the Ghostbusters, promising the ghosts that they can have New York. So it's still good. I believe it's only 4 issues. It's still a good read. You can probably pick them up for dirt cheap off of eBay. I have all 4 of them. So and then there's variant covers as well that feature like really detailed artwork of the Ghostbusters on the covers. Each comic has one Ghostbuster on it. I have the Winston and the Ray one, and then the other 2 are different covers. So number 6, One More Day by Marvel Comics. This is a Spider-Man story. I'll get to the Civil War, but after the Civil War happened during the Marvel Universe, Aunt May was shot by a sniper hired by the Kingpin from his prison cell. So pretty much Peter has to, find some way to keep paying for the medical bills for Aunt May or the healer. I mean, he goes to everybody. He goes to Doctor Strange to try to help. Nobody could help him until he meets this little girl that eventually turns out to be Mephisto. Mephisto being the Satan, pretty much Satan in the Marvel Universe, telling Peter and Mary Jane that if you want Aunt May to live, you must give me your love. Pretty much the love meaning that they would have no more knowledge of them even loving each other, even liking each other, even knowing each other. And so they both agreed on sacrificing that for Aunt May to live, because Mary Jane knew that would make Peter happy. And it's only 4 issues long. It's a great story, especially for like couples. It's a really good story to read. If you both guys like reading comic books, pick up that story and see if you would make the same choice. I mean, it's really, really good. I mean, every time I read it, I still like tear up a little bit. Just thinking about it, I tear up. It's a really sad story that they had to give up the one thing they always strived for, their love, to save Aunt May, but Mary Jane knew in the end that she was saving, helping out Peter. So, okay, we're going to number 5, Secret Invasion by Marvel Comics. Secret Invasion is the next major storyline after Civil War, and Secret Invasion is the Skrulls have somehow infiltrated Earth's mightiest heroes, the Avengers, and other organizations, taking the places of the originals, such as Elektra turning out to be a Skrull, Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman being a Skrull, and even Hank Pym himself, Yellow Jacket, being a Skrull. And pretty much they're going through this whole thing, trying to find out who's a Skrull, who's not a Skrull. And there's a part where they go to the Savage Land because there's a Skrull spaceship that landed, crash landed, and all these old school looking superheroes come out, like old school Captain America. It's like all their say like the 80s, maybe early 90s designs for their outfits, and they all come down, and everybody thinks they're Skrulls, which they all are. They all turn out to be Skrulls. Jessica Drew, the Spider-Woman, they don't know if she's a Skrull yet. Messes with Tony Stark's mind, telling him he's a Skrull, blah blah blah. He's a sleeper Skrull, blah blah blah. And this is all after the Skrull virus has taken over his armor and pretty much shut him down. And then you see the return of Thor teaming up with a new version of Captain America, who was Bucky Barnes at the time, because Cap is still lost in the timeline somewhere. Of course, Iron Man in his classic armor, because his current armor is infected by the virus. So they all go to war with all the Skrulls that invaded Earth. They even have Skrulls that have all the mutant powers mixed together, sort of like Mimic, how he has, they have one with Cyclops, Colossus, Wolverines, and probably some other people's powers all mixed into one, and it's this freaking weird. It's like their new version is Super Skrull, but way better than, instead of having the Fantastic Four powers. Who the hell wants those? Except for Johnny Storms, he's awesome. So they all go to war, and it ends up being on national TV. Norman Osborn gets the kill shot on the Queen, and at the end of the series, Norman Osborn is put in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D., booting out Tony Stark, which kind of sucks. Put the psychopath in charge of the world's government. I mean, not the world government, but pretty much the world's last line of defense. Yeah, great job there, jackasses. Okay, so we're on number 4, Brightest Day by DC Comics. Brightest Day takes place right after Blackest Night. Blackest Night is a storyline where a lot of the dead superheroes come back to life. The Black Marines, pretty much it's a zombie story. Brightest Day takes place right after that. It's pretty much, the whole thing is they're trying to find out who is the main lantern, who is the lantern bearer. And there's so many different side stories to it. There's one with Constantine trying to find Swamp Thing, trying to see if he, what's the deal going on with the forest growing in fucking one of the cities, and dead men traveling around, getting teleported by the White Ring, going to all the people that were resurrected by the White Lantern rings. And it turns out that each one of those each one of the people that were resurrected by a white ring has actually a certain objective that they have to do to pretty much solidify why they were resurrected. And one of them being the Reverse Flash actually had to bring back Barry Allen, and he actually accomplished that a while back. So his mission was done from the get-go once everybody was trying to figure out what they had to do. But, and you just get to see a lot of different characters in different lights. You get to see Martian Manhunter, you get to see his story, you get to see Hawkgirl and Hawkman's story. It's a whole bunch of stories trying to find out who is the White Lantern bearer. So it's a good read. Pick it up, especially if you enjoy Green Lantern. I enjoy Green Lantern a lot, if you can't tell. So yeah. Number 3 is the Civil War storyline. During the Civil War storyline, we have a lot of superheroes fighting other superheroes because one side is against the Registration Act and the other one is for it. One side, the against side is Captain America's team, the for it is Tony Stark's team. And to catch you up on why, it's because who were they? New Warriors. It's like a reality TV show with superheroes. They actually find some mainstream bad guys, big time leaguers, not little leaguers like these superheroes are. So they try to fight them, and Nitro actually ends up blowing up a massive explosion because he can do that with his powers. He can just make explosions, and it ends up fucking destroying a fucking whole school, killing all these little kids. It's pretty much like 9/11, but with little kids. It's even worse. And I guess there was other lines before the story that, you know, Wolverine was fighting the president, kill the president and stuff like that. But so Nitro blows up all these little kids, and the government wants to put a registration on all superheroes. And some are for it, some are against it. Cap leads the underground group that's against it, and Tony leads a group that wants to get registered and become SHIELD agents, but can still wear their suits, you know, but they're trained, you know, they're trained superheroes, you know, knowing what they have to do, you know, and stuff like that. So it just comes all the way down with like people infiltrating each other's teams, blah blah blah, and it finally boils down to a big giant war in the middle of New York City, with Tony Stark and Captain America fighting each other, and to the point where Cap's about to finish off Tony, and all these people just grab onto Captain America and saying, "What are you doing? He's for us. You're against us. You know, you're supposed to be Captain America. You're always supposed to be for us." And after that, Captain America just takes off his mask and says, "Everybody just stop. I'm giving up." And everybody's like, "They're arresting Captain America." And he's like, "No, they're arresting Steve Rogers. I'm taking off the mask." You know, he takes off his mask and he says, "They're arresting Steve Rogers. They're not arresting Captain America." It's a really good story. A lot of great artwork, everything. So it's a must read. Pick it up. I love it. I mean, you even get to see the unveiling in issue 2 of Spider-Man to the world. He unveils himself to the world. So check that out. Okay, so for number 2 we have Army of Darkness crosses Marvel Zombies by Marvel Comics. So we always knew, ever since the Marvel Zombies story came out, that we were going to have Army of Darkness eventually meeting up, killing the Marvel Zombies. This is a good read. I read it. It's kind of cool. It's not kind of cool. It's actually kind of cool to have Ash just like tearing up like the Marvel Zombies scene, and then there's a little time paradox, I guess, involved in it where Ash actually gets munched by the Howard the Duck zombie. He gets his brains munched. Fucking there's a little time paradox where that Ash comes. There's another Ash that time travels, I guess, or some shit like that. I don't know. The story's very confusing, but it's fun to read. Where he comes back, kills that Howard the Duck, even though the other Ash already died, but he kills the Howard the Duck zombie. So I don't know. It's weird, but it's a good read. It belongs on the number 2 spot. Must pick up. Okay, so number 1, and if you didn't know, of course he's gonna be number 1. Number 1 is Blackest Night by DC Comics. This is a storyline that helped DC get back on top over Marvel Comics, because Marvel was kicking their asses with stories like Civil War and Secret Invasion, and then Marvel did the stupidest storyline ever. Siege was just terrible. I mean, I read the Thor part of it. I just didn't like it. I thought it was terrible. And why that was going on, you know, DC was riding the wave with Blackest Night. Everybody wanted to read Blackest Night. Who doesn't want to see superhero zombies? I mean, that's the coolest thing. I mean, yes, Marvel's already did that with Marvel Zombies, but Blackest Night, they had rings. They were lanterns. They belonged to a core. But it was just cool to see a team up of Green Lantern and Barry Allen, the Flash, back together again, teaming up, two best friends, and trying to figure out what the hell they have to do against this. But just not that. When it gets down to the final battle with all the Black Lanterns, you actually find out that that each lantern can actually give another person like a temporary ring for 24 hours or however long it is. And you get to actually see some of the people, like some certain people become certain lanterns, like Barry Allen becomes a Blue Lantern, the Atom becomes an Indigo Lantern, Scarecrow becomes a Yellow Lantern. That was kind of awesome. And Mara, Aquaman's wife, becomes a Red Lantern. And then after a while, the Star Sapphire ring actually breaks the Black Lantern hold on Wonder Woman and lets her become a Star Sapphire as well. So it actually helps her, get over the Black Lantern power. That was because of certain, even though she wasn't dead, there was this like a connection that they all had that with the clone of Bruce Wayne's skull that Black Hand was carrying around with him, that's how he got all the superheroes with black rings and everything like that. But it's a good story. If you really like zombies and want to see like weird versions of like bad guys, villains, and all that good stuff, pick it up. Must read. #1 choice, Blackest Night. All the other books are good too, so pick it up. Blackest Night. So pick it up. Actually pick up all the books and just have a fucking comic book fest and just read them all. Heck, if you want to, start with #1, go down to 10, or start with 10 and go up to 1. Who cares? So that was the Retro Nerds Top 10 comic books you should read. So yeah. Thank you for watching, and catch me next week for the next one.